Tonight, police move in on Confederation Hill to take down tents belonging to homeless protesters and citing safety concerns.
Police are dismantling some of the tent encampment today.
Right straight up, it's not right what they're doing.
Well, I think government is finally getting the solution to the tent city problem, all wrapped up in a bow and hopefully out of their eyesight.
We'll tell you why, coming up on Here and Now.
Sent away for care.
Probably the most stressful time of their lives when you're battling cancer and then away from your families.
I'll tell you why almost 200 cancer patients have been sent to Toronto since last fall.
It's media day for the Newfoundland Growlers as they gear up for the start of their 5th season with their home opener happening Friday night. Jeremy and I'll have all the details coming up.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. Police began dismantling a tent encampment on Confederation Hill today, taking down tents and removing homeless people's belongings. This after wet and windy weather in St. John's. As Here and Now's Heather Gillis reports, those who are still there continue their push for permanent housing.
My job done.
About a dozen police officers were removing tents and belongings from this encampment on Confederation Hill today, packing the gear into black tote bins and loading it into a trailer. Joey Keating says his tent was one of them.
Right straight up, it's not right what they're doing. Because we all have rights to have a place to live, whether it's in a tent, wherever it's to.
Yesterday was wet, windy too. Many tents here couldn't withstand the weather. Most of the belongings inside Karen Peddle's tent are now drenched.
As you can see, a lot of the tents have collapsed and people's belongings are now exposed to the elements. They're wet and they've blown around this area. Still, despite the weather last night, a lot of people say they still don't want to go to shelters.
People like Davey Short have been at this encampment for 2 weeks. He says shelters aren't the answer.
I'm not going to stay in the shelter. I'd rather stay up here and fight it out.
And you've been in the shelter before. What do you think of it?
Shelters, well, most of them are all drug infested. I've been clean for 8.5 months and I don't want to go back to that scene.
But those who've lost their tents and belongings might not have a choice. Tonight it could be the shelter or the street. The RNC says it removed a large number of abandoned tents and items for safety reasons, so they don't blow into this busy nearby road. Tents that are secured, police say, can stay for now. Meanwhile, some protesters say tents used to store food also have to go.
I think government is finally getting the solution to the tent city problem.
NDP leader Jim Dinn wonders where the protesters without tents are expected to go now.
It just sends another message that they really don't count. They're the throwaway part of our society.
This Munprof, who studies homelessness, says he's seen it before. The police in other Canadian cities often forcibly remove encampments like this one, citing safety.
Punitive, harsh response, police action usually entails, taking these people's belongings, which then further entrenches these people's problems, as well as these encampments end up re-emerging after this quick Band-Aid solution.
The RNC says all items removed today will be itemized and that protesters can come to the RNC headquarters to describe their belongings and come pick them up. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Almost a year after a local union sounded the alarm about a shortage of radiation therapists in this province, Newfoundland and Labrador cancer patients are still being sent to Ontario for care. Since last November, almost 200 cancer patients from this province have gone to Toronto for radiation treatments, and some cancer patients still aren't getting treatments within the 28-day national standard. Here Now's Mark Quinn reports.
People want to know that when they need health care, it's there. They can access it, and they know they will be looked after.
Last fall, one of 4 cancer units here in St. John's was closed because of a severe shortage of radiation therapists. That unit, which houses a machine like this, is still closed. And that means that since last November, 193 cancer patients from this province have been sent to Princess Margaret Hospital in Toronto for radiation treatments.
When you're dealing with individuals that cannot get the treatment in their own province, there's something wrong with that. drastically wrong with that.
Then there's the problem of delayed treatments. Last year, 50% of cancer patients weren't getting radiation treatments within the 28-day national standard. Now, with expanded hours and more staff, that number has been cut to 30%.
Any delay in treatment, especially when you're dealing with cancer, is unacceptable.
Health officials say they're working hard to make sure patients get timely treatments. And they say the situation has improved since last fall.
We have recruited up to 50% of our outstanding positions. We have 4 remaining positions within the St. John's vicinity that we are working with our HR department in recruitment for those remaining positions.
The union representing radiation therapists says retention is the big problem. And the union says most of the 6 new recruits have only made short-term commitments to stay.
2 for a 2-year period, and I think 3 for a 3-year period. So we got to think ahead now in the event that somebody decide to leave, we can't be in the same situation.
Some of the recently recruited radiation therapists will be working at a new cancer treatment unit in Corner Brook. That unit is expected to open before the fall of 2024.
There's still a treatment unit that remains vacant, and we got to do all we can to ensure that we get the staff in there and that individuals can be treated in their home province with all this family and supports around them.
Health officials say they've lined up radiation therapy students to come here after they graduate. But NAPE says there's no guarantee if they come, they'll stay, especially when they find out they can earn tens of thousands of dollars more in Nova Scotia and even more further west. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, government wants to put this province on the map when it comes to helping heavy polluters deal with their carbon emissions. And it wants to use depleted oil reservoirs in our offshore as a vault to keep those emissions from entering the atmosphere and fueling climate change. It's not a sure thing, but some people believe it has big environmental and economic potential. Here Now's Terry Roberts reports.
This lab at Memorial University's Bruno Center used to be laser focused on making sure oil companies extract every last barrel from oil reservoirs in the offshore. But now there's a shift.
So we've started flipping the lab from oil work into carbon storage work.
This team is doing leading-edge research, studying ways to snag all the greenhouse gas emissions from platforms like Hibernia and inject them safely and efficiently into the seabed.
We are trying to mimic the reservoir conditions.
It's called carbon capture, utilization, and storage, CCUS for short. And it's a big deal as heavy industry struggles to cut emissions as clean air regulations become more and more restrictive. It's a subject that attracted academic and industry leaders here today, with the provincial government announcing a new innovation fund and dangling $6 million to incentivize research and development, hoping to encourage partnerships between labs like this and polluters like oil companies.
We are well suited to establish a successful CCUS industry given the potential for a gigaton level of carbon storage in our offshore.
The offshore industry accounts for about 14% of the province's emissions. In the short term, the idea of the Innovation Fund is to help find ways to decarbonize those platforms. In the longer term, it's envisioned that heavy emitters from far and wide will pay to deliver their captured emissions to the offshore by ship or pipeline and have it pumped into the ground.
We believe offshore CCUS could play a key role in helping Newfoundland and Labrador achieve its greenhouse gas reduction targets and help other jurisdictions with theirs.
This scientist believes it can work. The big question is whether it could ever be economical.
Can we store enough? We think yes. Will the CO2 stay in place? We think yes. Will there be any interactions to inhibit injection? We think not.
The carbon capture and storage wave is growing in Western Canada and in places like the North Sea. It's time for this province to catch up, says the Premier.
There is no place better positioned than Newfoundland and Labrador to do just that.
Those applying for an innovation grant have 5 months to get their proposals together and then another 2 years to complete their work. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
There's welcome news for expectant mothers in Gander this week, as NL Health says the obstetrics unit there will reopen before Christmas. It's been 8 months since the province promised that would happen, despite the health accord recommending permanent diversions to Grand Falls, Windsor. Troy Turner reports.
Shauna Adams' baby boy was born in the Gander emergency room because she didn't have time to get to Grand Falls, Windsor. Now, in the early stages of her second pregnancy, the reopening of the obstetrics unit is welcome news.
I feel that if I didn't make it to Grand Falls the first time, the chances of making it the second time are slim to none. And then I know that there's no guarantee things will go as smoothly the second time. I was very, very fortunate that I had a textbook delivery. But what if something goes wrong the second time and I'm in a place that's ill-equipped to deal with it?
Now she's crossing her fingers the health department keeps its promise.
Knowing that there has to be training in place, knowing that staff have to be put in place that aren't even here yet in the country, that I feel that to say before Christmas, people will think, well, that's not too long, that's not too bad. And then they can say, well, due to circumstances out of our control, it's going to have to be after Christmas.
NL Health has recruited midwives, 3 of the 4 obstetricians, and 70% of the nursing staff they need for the unit.
Hopefully we don't ever have a diversion again, but at the end of the day, a safe, sustainable service and the best care for families is what we want, and we will do what we need to do to attain that goal.
As a pediatrician, newborn care is a big part of what we do, and you know, it's one of the things that attracted me to the profession, and working as a community pediatrician, it's a huge part of what we do.
Having the obstetrics unit at James Pate Memorial Hospital is a big part of all health care, she says.
It also, I think, really helps for us to provide a better quality of care, and it helps with that continuity of care too, because now the person that is caring for you in hospital may be the same person that you see when the child is older.
The Citizens Health Action Group has been busy behind the scenes since its rally in March. Samantha Abbott says there's a sense of relief now.
I'm really hoping now before Christmas, if they can get it open, that would be fantastic. That means less people traveling on the highways in the winter. We really don't want to have that happen again this year.
The work of the Action Committee will continue, and Samantha Abbott says they hope to fundraise for the new obstetrics unit. Following that, they'll continue to advocate for all health care in this area. Troy Turner, CBC News, Gander.
Well, the rain has finally tapered off today for the most part, at least the heavy rain has, but some of the numbers are in. This is as of last night. 57 millimeters of rain fell in Bellevue. St. John's picked up 47.8 millimeters of rain. Clarenville just over 30 millimeters, and Bonavista, you topped out at 29.5 today, or last night I should say, but today woke up to a frosty morning, especially in Corner Brook. Peter Smith shared this photo with me. Most of you woke up to these chilly temperatures this morning. If you take a look at your overnight lows and morning temperatures, it was around 0 degrees in Corner Brook in some cases, but officially recorded +1. Deer Lake down to -1. This is a little bit below where you should be sitting this time of year. Typically, your overnight low should be sitting about 3 or 4 degrees. And then across Labrador, about -2 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. We do have another cold night in store. We've got a ridge of high pressure dominating the weather. That is going to keep things clear for some of us. I'll get into all the details when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, Nova Scotia and New Brunswick have plans to build a modified version of the Atlantic Loop, one that doesn't include Newfoundland and Labrador. The original Atlantic Loop idea was a massive transmission system to take hydropower from the Atlantic provinces, including Labrador, to other markets. But mounting costs and questions about how much energy is actually available has led Nova Scotia and New Brunswick to pursue a smaller version with upgraded transmission lines and more focus on renewable energy generated in those 2 provinces. Here's Premier Andrew Furey responding to being cut out of the plan.
There is no loop without Newfoundland and Labrador. They just don't have the capacity. They can put up all the lines they want, but they will only be clotheslines instead of transmission lines unless they have the generating capacity.
Well, meantime, Premier Fury wouldn't give any details about the status of negotiations with Quebec over Churchill Falls. Quebec wants more hydropower and wants to extend the Churchill Falls deal past 2041. Fury wouldn't say whether Quebec has offered a proposal, but he did respond to criticisms about negotiating in secret.
I'm not sure why anybody would think or conceive that these negotiations are being held in secret, but surely the people of the province do not want me to show all the cards to the people of Quebec and to Hydro-Quebec more specifically with respect to our strategy and any back and forth that may or may not be happening.
Well, tonight kicks off the start of a jam-packed 5-day festival, one that's back in person for the first time since 2019. The St. John's International Film Festival is rolling out the red carpet this evening, and that's where our Aoife Alaba is tonight. So, Aoife, set the scene for us. How is it down there?
It is great. I am so excited to be here at the newly renovated Majestic Theatre at the St. John's Women's International Film Festival, and this is their 34th edition. Right in front of me is the red carpet. It's giving glamour, it's giving glitz, it's giving fabulosity. This year is actually, we're expecting 7 features and 33 short films from 11 different countries, as well as a bunch of panel discussions. Personally, I am very, very excited for the movie Black Barbie, a documentary about representation in the Barbie world. And they actually paired up with Shonda Land, who did things like Bridgerton, who did Grey's Anatomy, and so much more like Scandal, and they will be on Netflix really soon. With me, I have the executive director of the festival, Jen Brown, and she's right here with me. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Good, thanks so much.
What are you looking forward to?
Speaking with people, having you all gather, just the community spirit and excitement and the energy to come in here and celebrate all the incredible local talent who's opening the festival and everyone else that's coming out for the week that we have planned. So yeah, getting everyone together and sharing that buzz and sharing a love of cinema and art and just welcome everyone to St. John's.
Amazing, thank you so much. So, we're going to have another guest on pretty soon, the RBC Emerging Filmmaker Award, and back to you, Caroline.
Thanks so much, Aoife. That's here now, Aoife Alaba reporting live. Well, the Newfoundland Growlers are just days away from the start of its franchise 5th season. The boys in black and gold recently landed 11 players from their parent club, the Toronto Marlies, over the weekend. Today, the team took a break from practice to take part in Media Day, and that's where Jeremy Eaton caught up with them.
The Newfoundland Growlers roster grew significantly over the weekend as a number of players cut from the Toronto Marlies are now here in St. John's. Now, the team doesn't have much time to get ready because their first game this season is here at the Mary Brown Centre on Friday night.
I think it makes my job easy because, they're all in shape. They've all been at it for 3 or 4 weeks. Being an affiliation, we want to do what the Marlies and the Leafs are doing, so systematically it's very similar, and they've already been practicing it for that period of time, and so they can come in here and really aid in the development of the others that don't know that system yet. We got 2 good days in, we got a good bulk of our systems covered in practice, got some work done. We'll have another long day tomorrow as we digest what the expectations are. And then Thursday will be light and ready to go for Friday.
It's always an exciting time. You get new bodies in, new people. We're fortunate to have another solid coaching staff brought in, so it's just exciting for the new opportunity ahead.
Holy moly.
Yeah, the weather hasn't been too good in my first 2 days here, but the organization seems first class, and the facilities are amazing, and people here are all, very nice and friendly, so it's been a good adjustment so far.
I've been used to it. I've been cut the last 7 years, as we say as a joke, but no, I'm more used to it than maybe the younger guys, so I kind of, as the week goes on, you kind of get an idea who will be coming down here, so you're just trying to fill them in on what St. John's is like, what the Growlers is like, kind of what we do, and you kind of just gear them up and put them in a position so that when they do get sent down, that they're ready for what's next.
Plays it for Caulfield. Nifty move.
Is there any sort of rivalry, I guess, between you and your brother, being that you're involved in one organization and he's involved in another?
Everyone can talk about it, but, he's my brother, so I love watching and supporting him, and no matter where he's playing, but it is kind of funny the way it worked out.
Marjorie Dwyer started to lose weight when she was 23. She's 78 now, and over the past couple of years, she has lost 200 pounds. How'd you do it?
I got sensible.
Makes sense.
Time for a look at the weather, and oh, it is cold out there.
It definitely is a lot colder than it was yesterday, especially this time of the day. Take a look at the difference in temperatures, down anywhere from 1 to 4 degrees across the province, or across the island, I should say. Across the rest of Labrador, your temperatures are actually a bit warmer than what they were yesterday, sitting 3 degrees warmer in Makkovik. But yeah, some of the coldest temperatures that we have seen so far, at least consistently cold, and we're going to see this for the next couple of days. But we topped out at about 8 degrees in St. John's today, only 6 in Gander this afternoon. You had to go to Burgeo to get into the double digits this afternoon. That's pretty much it. Wreck House area saw 11 degrees, but about 9 in Port aux Basques. And then up across Labrador, your temperatures are right around where you should be sitting this time of year, about 5, 6 degrees. As your daytime highs, these are actually a bit below across the island in St. John's. In fact, we should be sitting around 11 degrees for this time of year. But We've certainly seen lots of above seasonable weather, so I guess it's time. But we've got a ridge of high pressure dominating the weather picture at the moment. That area of low pressure that was responsible for all that rain and wind has moved offshore now. And basically, as we head through to the overnight tonight, we've got a bit of high cloud moving in and a few showers as well along the south coast of the island at the moment, and a few showers around, likely drizzle around the Avalon at the moment as well. But that's basically what we're going to see as we head through the overnight tonight. The weather picture really showing some clearing skies as we get towards the early morning hours, and that means that we will likely see some very cold temperatures, especially in some low-lying areas up across Labrador. Generally cloudy tonight. Still the chance of a few lingering showers in the mix as well. But for the most part, it is just going to be a cold day. So your freeze risk tonight, about 50-50, especially in the low-lying areas. That's the best chance of seeing some temperatures below zero through the overnight tonight up across Labrador. Pretty much the same thing. Now, if you take a look at your temperatures through the overnight, we're generally sitting within about a degree or two below zero, especially in those low-lying areas. And the reason for that, light winds and then eventually clearing skies. Now, Labrador, the coldest temperatures will be in Lab City, where you'll hover around -6, but otherwise between 1 and 4 degrees will be your overnight low. And as we head into tomorrow, it's going to start nice for most of eastern Newfoundland. We should actually see some sunshine. We will see those clouds, though, moving from west to east through the day. Also the chance of a few scattered showers as the day goes on. We likely won't see that cloud cover in the east until we get into about sunset. And then across Labrador, you're looking at generally cloudy skies tomorrow, just some clearing late day as the day goes on, and really a quiet night even as we head into Thursday morning. So finally, some quiet weather for the time being. Our temperatures tomorrow are going to stay very similar to what we're seeing today. Not really a whole lot of movement, but we are looking at westerly winds around 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. It's only from 8 to about 11 degrees for eastern Newfoundland. As you head towards central and the south coast, you're looking at between 8 and 10 as your daytime highs. And then for the west coast, this is where we'll see the best chance of some showers. They will be very scattered, but they will still exist. Westerly winds, again, 20 to about 40 kilometers per hour, and anywhere from 8 to 11 degrees is your daytime high. Similar forecast as far as temperatures are concerned for southeastern portions of Labrador and the northern peninsula. Lanzaloo, about 8. Port aux Choix, about 9 degrees tomorrow. And your winds will be out of the northwest, around 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. The rest of the big land, talking between 7 and 11 degrees. This is a bit above where you should be sitting this time of year. Quiet weather now, but as we head towards the weekend, another round of rain and wind is on the way. I'll get into that when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, 78-year-old Marjorie Dwyer has seen it for herself that some things are worth waiting for. After 50 years of trying, she's lost 200 pounds. It's enough to be named the provincial queen of the nonprofit weight loss group Take Off Pounds Sensibly. Marjorie sat down with CBC's Anthony Germain to talk about the achievement.
By the time I was in my 20s, I actually had 3 children. I was a young bloomer, and of course, you know, after you have children, you put weight on. And, you know, I was really interested in this new thing I was hearing about, this TOPS thing, certainly, right?
Right, and TOPS stands for Take Off Pounds.
Sensibly, yes. Yes.
And you remained a member of TOPS for more than 50 years.
56, actually.
You didn't really start to lose weight until 53 years into the program?
But I knew I had to, see, because I was, you know, I was going to keep getting bigger and keep getting bigger, and I would not have been able to tolerate the small things in life. I wouldn't have been able to do anything. So I realized I was at a point where I had to do something about it.
Now, when you say you're at a point, when you were at your biggest, your heaviest, how big were you?
405 pounds. Yo-yo is what I was doing. Up, down, up, down, up, down, right?
So you're 78 now. At some point when you were around 75, 76, you obviously decided, okay, after 50...
Either do this or you're going to be in that bed and not be able to get out of it. Now that's the bottom line of that. When I couldn't get around, I could no longer get around. I couldn't get up to get in and out of the bed and stuff like that. No, I that had to stop. That was why I started. That is a fact. The biggest change I made, my dear, was my food portions. I cut my food portions back to a half of what I used to have. And that's how the weight went. One night a week I tried to sneak out.
One night?
One night, that's all.
It's better than 7.
Not all the time. Oh yes, indeed. Indeed, or 4 or 5 times having it bought into me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was a big lover of takeout, I have to say.
But you have to have a fish and chips or something every now and then.
Well, guess what? That's Thursday night, see? That's what I goes out for Thursday night, fish or chips or something.
How much weight have you lost?
Well, from 405 to 205 gives me 200 pounds.
That's the math.
Yeah.
That's like you lost.
Not bad.
It's like you lost a grown man.
I lost a grown man. I lost you somewhere along the way.
Whenever we set goals in life and we actually manage to achieve them, there's sort of a feeling of, wow, you know, I got out of debt, or I managed to finish this school program. You obviously set a goal and you have accomplished it. How proud do you feel about what you've managed to do, even though it took 50 years?
I'm very proud. I'm very proud. I'm very proud at my age. With the weight I was, I'm very proud to have done it. I have to say, I'm very proud of myself. See, that's why I got all these medals on my chest.
Listen, a real pleasure to meet you, and congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, darling, very much. And thank you to behind the camera.
When you're looking at affordable housing for people, a 3-bedroom home right now in Placentia could cost you anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 a month.
We have seen a 20% increase in the number of short-term rental listings in British Columbia in the last year alone.
From rental prices to how BC is handling its housing crisis, we'll talk strategy coming up. Well, there's a lot going on in Placentia these days, from big construction projects to the green transition. What does it all mean for the local economy? CBC Radio's The Signal hit the road to find out.
Affordable housing and housing in general. So when you're looking at affordable housing for people, a 3-bedroom home right now in Placentia could cost you anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 a month for sure. So when you got people in the service industry and the retail industry making $15, $16, $17 an hour, that's tough. Yeah. Throw everything else that's going on with the economy and the rising cost of inflation and everything else that's going on, gas and everything, and the transportation of goods, that is tough for people. And I hear that and I see that, you know, you're looking at families with 4 people, 3 people, trying to find a nice place to rent. That's hard.
I originally grew up in Placentia. I was born and raised in Placentia. Left for what I thought was going to be better and more promising things in the city. I was very excited as a teenager to leave Placentia, but I quickly realized the opportunities that existed, particularly for raising a young family. So me and my husband relocated back to Placentia in 2017, and I was involved in things like the Chamber of Commerce, but also became involved in the Port of Argentia. You know, for me, I really hope to contribute to the local economy and be able to create job opportunities if my children choose they want to stay, so they don't feel like they have to leave the local area and they can work and live in Placentia.
One of the things that I think surprises us, not surprisingly, but you know, when you get into a new area, is really how well you are taken in the community. And we could not say anything bad about this area. The town has been great. The support from township, the support from the port. Like really, the community here has been just taking us in with open arms, and we truly appreciate that.
So 10 years from now, what's Pattern going to be doing here?
Building more wind turbines and producing more ammonia and hydrogen. If you know, the path here, this is the early start to an industry that Newfoundland has really captured, in the sense of this great wind here, right? Lots of land. So this industry could grow. We just need to get this off the ground, slow and steady.
And it started, right?
And it started. Met towers are up, right? We're measuring wind, we're measuring the production here that we can use for the wind turbines, and all that feeds into this like big picture of what we can do.
This area will be the economic driver. Strategically, it's very well located. It's close to the city and a lot of the, unions and labor workforce that can come in and support these mega projects that I talk about. The multi-billion-dollar Argentia Renewables project. You talk about, a 2-year project to build a new dock extension, the West White Road. So we're very strategically located. It's only fitting, I think, that you're going to see a boom in this area, and it's pretty exciting, and we want to be a part of it for sure.
Housing availability and affordability have been making headlines in this province and across the country as this province pushes a plan to offer incentives for new private sector builds and financial assistance to first-time home buyers. The BC government is cracking down on Airbnbs. The CBC's Mira Baines has more.
The province is hoping new legislation will force people to take short-term rentals off platforms like Vrbo and Airbnb.
We have seen a 20% increase in the number of short-term rental listings in British Columbia in the last year alone, to an all-time high of about 28,000 listings.
The proposed law restricts short-term rentals to within a host's home, a basement suite or laneway home on the property where they live. Hosts who break the rules would be fined $3,000 a day, up from $1,000, and to help make people follow the rules.
A new enforcement team that will support the efforts led by municipalities and regional districts.
Short-term rental companies will be required to share data with the province and show business registration numbers on the listings.
This will help local enforcement. If hosts are not playing by the rules, this legislation will require platforms to take down those listings.
Airbnb's policy manager argues the proposed legislation won't ease BC's housing concerns, saying instead it will take money out of the pockets of British Columbians, make travel more unaffordable for millions of residents who travel within BC, and reduce tourism spending in communities where hosts are often the only providers of local accommodations. Callers on CBC Radio's BC Today were mixed.
But philosophically, I'm opposed to the notion that government can just come in and tell me what to do with my property.
In my neighborhood, I see brand new buildings being built that are being put up specifically for housing, and then they're being rented out as Airbnbs, like the whole property.
The new rules could lead to fewer rooms for tourists in BC, but the mayor of Victoria says balance is key. Also, providing homes is a priority.
Even moving some of those into the permanent housing market is going to make a significant difference.
Resort communities and Gulf Islands will be exempt from principal residence requirements, but local governments can opt in.
There's lots in here that the whole community is going to have to weigh in on. STRs are part of our community. They benefit Tofino, but they also, as everybody knows, bring some baggage.
The provincial government says the new rules will be phased in from now through late 2024. Mira Baines, CBC News, Victoria.
So could a similar strategy work here? Should governments limit Airbnb rentals and only allow people to rent their primary residence? What could that mean to the availability of housing in this province? I asked housing advocate Hope Jameson.
In the St. John's area, we don't have great data on how many of these properties we're talking about. We have estimates somewhere 700-800 at a time when housing supply is, of course, top of mind. All of us have heard stories about how difficult it is to find housing. So we do have a supply issue fundamentally. So those houses being off the rental market is a problem. However, we also have some mismatch between who's looking for rental housing and the types of housing in the market. So I will say that I don't know that this is the silver bullet. Like, regulating short-term rentals overall is not going to solve the housing crisis. It is one important part of the discussion. In rural areas in Newfoundland and Labrador, especially places where the tourism industry is the main economic driver, this would be huge. So places where you mostly have single-family homes, where the rental market is already really small and so really sensitive to shocks like things like Airbnb come into town, this would be a really significant change.
You mentioned the mismatch. Can you expand on that a bit more?
Yeah, so a lot of our housing is older, was built at a time when people had 2, 3, 4 children. Our average renter now is a one to 2 person household, and so those smaller units are in really high demand, and those larger units are not as much. So that we need to be focusing especially on building purpose-built rental housing in smaller sizes. And we have an aging population, so we need to also be focusing on making sure that housing is accessible. And if we really want to get at the root of the problem, that's where we need to be focusing our energy.
And how are you feeling about the direction government is going in right now? There's more attention being paid to this. What more would you like to see?
I'm grateful to see the conversation advancing, and I will say I've been in this work for a long time. I've never seen it as robust as it is today, and that's because it's affecting middle-class people, and it's unfortunate that it's had to get to this point before it's become top of mind. There is really urgent action from all sectors required on this immediately, and I haven't seen the kind of energy behind it that I'd like to see. Any step is a good one, but there's so much more left to do.
Let's return now to the St. John's International Women's Film Festival, where they're rolling out the red carpet at the newly renovated Majestic Theatre in St. John's to kick off a 5-day festival, which is in its 34th year. And that's where our Aoife Alaba is tonight with one of this year's filmmakers. So Aoife, who is your guest?
So here with me I have Brianna Russell. She's the 2022 recipient for the RBC Michelle Jackson Emerging Filmmakers Award. Brianna, how are you?
I'm feeling good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So happy to be talking to you. How does it feel to be here tonight at opening night?
It feels absolutely incredible. There's so much excitement in the air, so many amazing filmmakers here to watch and share and learn, and I'm just so excited to be here.
Talk to me about your film Poster Child. What is it about?
So Poster Child is the story of an insecure musician who is fighting to replace her childhood idol at the most prestigious orchestra in the company. It's a film that is very important to me. It's very close to my heart. I've been working on it for a while before we made it back in June. And it was just really incredible to watch it get made with such a great group of women, and to have it play at the St. John's International Women's Film Festival is just an unbelievable feeling.
Amazing. So I hear that this is the first time your film has been put in a festival. How does that feel?
I wish I had words to describe how it feels. It feels better knowing that this is the place where it was filmed. This is the place where it premiered. The people who love and support me are all here. They're all going to be at the festival on Saturday night, and I'm so grateful for the festival for allowing me to show the film here.
Apart from your film being the closing film of the festival, what are you most looking forward to?
Oh, definitely connecting and learning with all the other filmmakers. There's so many amazing directors, cinematographers, producers, writers. Everyone's here this week. And just getting the chance to connect with these people here in the beautiful city of St. John's. I'm really grateful for that.
Thank you so much for talking to me. I hope you have an amazing experience.
Thank you so much.
The St. John's International Film Festival will be happening the whole week, and you can check more about it on their website. I am going to grab my seat for the opening film happening at the Majestic Theatre, Pirate Party, and I am reporting live. I'm Aoife Alaba in St. John's. Have a good night.
Well, staying with the arts, Music NL's Music Celebration Week officially started today, and to kick it off, this year's honorary awards recipients were announced. Robert Buck won the Dennis Parker Industry Builder Award. As for the unsung hero, that went to Marlene Cal and Amy House for their contributions to the local music industry. And this year's Lifetime Achievement Award went to Buddy What's-His Name and the other fellers for their 40-year commitment to the local music scene. The group was already given the Order of Canada last year, and all the winners will get their awards at a ceremony this Saturday. Well, back in 2017, we hit the road with Buddy and the other fellers for their final tour and followed their journey in a documentary called Still Some More to Go. So in honor of that big award, we're sharing the full film on our CBC NL website, but here's a taste.
Now, folks, we have to tell you, when we first started as a group, we encountered some bad restaurants.
Why, good day, ma'am.
I don't see what's so good about it.
What do you mean?
It reminds you of my clothes that stuck right onto me, sure.
Okay. Well, tell me, what's your soup of the day?
A vegetable pea turkey, sir.
Pardon?
Vegetable pea turkey, you deaf?
No, I'm not deaf. Now, I distinctly heard the word turkey in there and soup, so I like turkey soup. I'll have the soup.
No, my son, it don't work like that.
Well, what do you mean it don't work like that?
Yesterday, you could have had the turkey soup. The day before that, you could have had the vegetable soup. Day before that, you could have had the pea soup. This morning, we throw them all together to vegetable pea turkey.
right, so time for a look at the long range. But I must say, all of that wet and windy weather last night has really done a job on the leaves. When I looked at my driveway this morning, we have these like little chestnuts, not really chestnuts, but like these little nuts in the trees, and they were just everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, it's that time of the year. Cleaned up the leaves this weekend, and they're obviously all back again. But
messy.
Yeah, very messy. Let's take a look at what we're looking at as over the next couple of days. Basically, not a whole lot of wind in the forecast, which will be nice. In fact, Thursday's actually looking pretty lovely. We may see a few showers maybe on the northern peninsula and along the south coast of the island, but for the most part, pretty nice stretch of weather over the next couple of days. Across Labrador, you're looking at your cloud cover moving in as the afternoon goes on, and then even the chance of a few showers in the mix as well, especially towards the evening hours on Thursday. But temperatures overall will be back up again, so we'll say goodbye to the single digits for a couple of days. About 12 to 13 degrees across the island. That is a little bit above where we should be sitting this time of year. And then for Labrador, at least the southeastern portion of Labrador, you're in the double digits as well. That is well above where you should be sitting this time of year. You're looking at 12 degrees. Single digits, though, still the case for Nain and Lab City, where you will see those showers move in, like I said, but not until later on in the afternoon. And then Thursday evening through to Friday morning, we'll likely see a bit more cloud cover move in to start the day. We're in that southerly flow, so the chance of some fog patches along the south coast of the island as well as some showers, that will be the rule for you. And then for Labrador, another round of showers will move in, especially towards the west, and then head east as the day goes on towards the coast by the time you get into the evening hours. And then we'll see those clouds on the increase as well. Right across the island. Now, as far as temperatures are concerned for your Friday, another day, even temperatures a little bit above where they will be on Thursday. So anywhere from 12 to about 15 degrees is the daytime highs. Thanks to that sunshine, it will feel very lovely. And then for Labrador, again, 11 to about 13 degrees as your daytime highs, sticking with those single digits, though, for both Nain and Lab City through your afternoon. Long range forecast, even warmer as we get into Saturday. However, this is when the next round of weather will move in. Significant weather will move in. We're looking at windy conditions for your Saturday, along with some periods of rain. By Sunday, we should start to see some clearing out, especially towards the afternoon hours, but our daytime highs 16, 17 degrees, overnight lows 12 to 14, so fairly warm. And then for central Newfoundland, you're looking at similar temperatures, anywhere from 13 to 15 degrees to round out the weekend, with some showers on Sunday. Same thing for western Newfoundland as you see your periods of rain. And then for Labrador, periods of rain for your Sunday, temperatures dipping into the single digits, dramatic drop in temperatures there. And then for western Labrador, you're looking at showers right till Saturday, and a big drop in temperatures for your Sunday, only hovering around 1 degree, and the chance of some flurries in the mix. Now this shot, lovely dramatic sky there of the PBY Catalina.
Oh, nice.
Yes, Brian shared this shot with us in Ballwood. Thank you so much for that shot. If you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, the best place to send them would be nlphotos@cbc.ca.
That is gorgeous.
Very cool.
Yep. Beauty shot of that plane.
Had a great conversation with Ryan Cook about that, and he said, call it a flying boat, because it was one of the original water bombers.
Oh, interesting. There you go. Learn something new.
That's right.
Well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for spending part of your evening with us.
Good night.